Good evening, and what a nice, lovely evening it is. Yeah, just have to check to see who's all around and make sure that things are going good. Yep, just had a great ride. This is the kind of evening that, yeah, there she is, my bright orange Norco. I used to call it yellow, but I guess it's orange. Orange yellow? Tell me. That's my great bike. I love it so much. Here I am back in the Bethel Heritage Park. It's awesome. You know, it's been a great afternoon of discussion. I put out a couple of words saying something about a big lockdown happening, and well, I just had followed what the Manitoba government was doing in their briefings in the afternoon, and everything looked like it was going to be pretty tough. Well, for many people, it's tougher than tough. Restaurants, gyms, hair salons, all those places, again, closed. 14 months after? And we're closing them again. I bet some of those restaurants were hoping that they were going to have a nice Mother's Day weekend. Well, not this year. I talked at length about mothers and Mother's Day yesterday, and but at the same time, I could talk about it again today because mothers are that important. And we as husbands, we as fathers and dads and grandpas, we need to respect our wives and mothers even more than we already do. I know it's an easy thing to say and a much harder thing to do. But boy, as I said yesterday, for me, there were no mother-in-law jokes. And I'm going to tell a little story. No, it's not a story. It's a happening. Over the years, my mother-in-law would call, sometimes 10 times a day, just for assurance, reassurance, or ask something piddly, I would sometimes think. But I kept answering the phone, day after day, year after year. And sure, sometimes it got a little much, but never too much. Well, then I fast forward, because I'd been taking all those phone calls. On a certain Saturday evening in January, early January, I forget the exact date, I get a call. My wife, Judith, then was working at 3M. I get a call from my mother-in-law. She was at Salem Home and had been for over a year. And she talked to me, and, well, initially it sounded like, well, it was, again, kind of, a little iffy, but nevertheless, I listened her out. But half an hour later, she calls me again. She says, I'm not feeling good. And so I listened. Many times she had not been feeling good. In fact, that's why she often called. She also often called to just get reassurance of her salvation, even though I'm not the one to give that. But I can explain it, and I did many times over. So then, another half an hour, she calls again. And she says, Harry, Exie Cart Metaloft. She could hardly breathe. Well, now I was beginning to get concerned. I called Judy at 3M, and I may have said Salem Home before. No, she was working 3M on a Saturday night. And I said, you know what? I think we need to you need to go see your mother. So she did. She never told me to come initially, but she went. And she had several life-changing experiences where her mother, with glorious look on her face, looked up into the ceiling and said, you know what? I see Jesus. Well, now my wife was beginning to be really concerned, so she called me. So I went down, And I prayed with her, and she shared that again. And we experienced that, the three of us together. And then she did something totally uncharacteristic. She told us to go home. It was about 12:30. And that was something she would never have done. She would have said, please stay a little longer, please stay. And now she said, you know what? Go home, your children need you. Oh yeah, she had a great concern for her grandchildren. So eventually, yeah, we went home. And she was total peace. We went home and slept. At 8 o'clock, we get a call from a nurse saying your mother isn't responding. Oh wow! Now my wife was so unhappy that she had not stayed there. So she went, and I came a bit later. And sure enough, she was able to reach out to her, communicate with her, and saw that everything was okay. And at 12:30 that noon, she passed into glory. Totally unexpected. You know, had I not taken my mother-in-law's calls all those years, we would have missed out on that going home event. No, we would have gotten there Sunday morning, but we would have missed out on the Saturday night. So, you know what? I was so overjoyed that I had the privilege of being there with my mother-in-law. And a few days later, I had the privilege of officiating at her funeral. And so, you know what? I wasn't going to share that before I turned on my iPhone, but that's how the Spirit leads. That's how the Lord leads. I'm so happy I did. What a wonderful Mother's Day story, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I hope you can identify with something like that too. You know, I had the privilege of being at my mom and dad's, going home beside their bed, holding their hands, being the nurse. And so, yes, it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And both at my mother-in-law and at my father-in-law, and also at my wife's. And all of them were born-again believers with assurance of salvation, looking forward to the day they would see Jesus face to face. Well, that's my message for tonight. I'm going to go home. I see I'm getting a telephone call from my daughter. And so, great to see you, or at least for you to see me and to hear me. And I see a number of you people are on here. So, God bless. Somewhere, sometime, somehow, I'll see you again. That's Seaman Says.